In today's episode, we're going to talk about growing old and giving up. Enjoy! Welcome to another LoFi episode. I am recording this on my H1N with no microphone, and I keep moving back and forth. So my guess is that my voice is going to come coming in and out. But if you're new to this podcast, my name is Jeremy Quintanilla. This is a podcast about the trials and tribulations that I go through my business adventures, building my business empires, and the learnings that I have along the way. And these LoFi episodes are more of my, conversation in regards to the things that I'm learning, the things that I'm going through in my life, and they come out whenever I put them out. So this is another one for you, and in the background, hopefully you can hear the amazing Fraser Crane and Roz. Can't remember Roz's last name. It's Roz Doyle, I think it is. Roz Doyle's last name. Let me double check that bad boy right now. And this is actually one of my favorite scenes. So if I stop talking mid-scene, it's because I'm getting distracted with Fraser on in the background. Roz Doyle, yeah. And so in this scene, Fraser has this woman that he likes, and she is they're doing like a project together, and she invites him up to her room, and he calls Roz to kind of find out she thinks that the woman inviting him up to the room is a sign that they should be together or to have, sexual relations or whatever you want to say. And so in the scene, she keeps saying stuff that he can't, there's no deciding factor on how he should be taking it. So he's like taking his clothes off, he's putting his clothes back on, and she's in the bathroom getting ready for the getting into a nightgown, and it's just really, really confusing. So like one part says, well, why don't you get into something more comfortable and check the closet for something more comfortable? And so he goes to the closet, he finds a robe, he takes his clothes off, I think, and he puts a robe. And when she's like, did you find the slippers? I want you to be more comfortable because your shoes were in the rain. Anyways, it's a fantastic episode. So I just wanted to come on here and talk to you about a few things. One, just my German is continuing to go the way that actually I'm spending much more time with German than I thought that I was going to be able to this week, and which is important because we're spending a lot of the times on the pronouns and the indefinite articles inside of German. And one of the things that is super frustrating in my opinion is the plurals inside of German. And so when we're thinking about the plurals in German, there's not real deciding factors of how to decide on if a word should be if it's pluralized, one, and then how it's pluralized based off of how the singular form is. So in English, a lot of the times we have words that are plural and we just add s to them to say that means multiple of those things. And German does not work in that capacity with all of their words. It works with some of their words, but there's nothing that specifically makes it where you should do something to make the word plural. So, for example, can't even find it in this freaking paper. Yeah, so it must be pointed out that there is no clear-cut way to always determine the plural of a noun. And this is specifically with nouns. So, das Auto, die Auto, I guess nouns would be the plural. Das Auto, die Autos, die Kamera, die Kameras, die Kameras, das Sofa, die Sofas, der, I can't say this word properly, der Tisch, die Tischke, and the Tischke would be that. So, all plural nouns use the definite article die. That part's a given. So you have der words, die words, and das words. And so if they're plural, they're all die for the of it, for the article, the definite article in it. But then, like, if the masculine noun ends in an en, er, or el, there is no additional e ending. But sometimes you add, like, an emulet to it. So, like, for instance, Is Bowden, so der Bowden would be a non-plural form of it, and then die Bowden would be the plural form of it. But you have like the two little dots, the umlaut. I don't know how to pronounce that. Umlaut above the O that signifies that it is a plural word, which you can't tell that in a sentence unless the person starts the word with the D. So if you're talking to someone and they're Boden, which is floors, so they're the floor, der Boden, but if you say die Boden, then that means that it is plural and you're talking about multiple sets of floors in that conversation. So I've been spending a lot of time specifically with this. I spent about 4 hours studying it Friday night. I know I'm such a crazy guy studying German on a Friday night, but it's super important to me because you have to be able to read at 3 levels of college, the 300 level college. You have to read at a 300 level college level for musicology because Vienna and Austria and German were so important in the fruition of music. The other thing that you have to do, I was looking at a lot of the other schools. Some of the schools, they also make you learn ask you to so U of A, I think, does it really, really well. So University of Arizona, you have to learn German, and then you have to either learn French, Italian, or Latin, which I think classically, if you're studying Romance languages, you should always learn Latin in a reading sense and from a classical sense. But if you are reading, and from a classical sense, I mean to read the classics, it's always important to understand classics, to be able to read Greek classics and Latin classics in the Greek and the Latin. Now, the problem that I have with classics real quick is that it only focuses traditionally on Latin and on Greek. But I think that you should also understand Sanskrit and then some of the other languages that have been around for a long period of time that make up our languages today. I think that you could think of those as classical languages that have been utilized to create the languages in which we have today. So, that being said, U of A has you do German and then French or Italian or Latin, okay? And then you would need another language based off of your main area study. Now, that main area study could still be one of the other languages. So let's say you learn German, Italian, and your main study was going to be French. You would learn German, Italian, and French for your language cluster for the academic work that you would do. So again, going back to the thing that interests me for the most part the most. So me, I would do German, Italian. I think there's benefit in learning French in general, especially one of the things that in my mind that I think about a lot is that we don't do a good job in America culturizing ourselves to other cultures and kind of guiding us to become travelers, I guess, across the plane, across North America. And so when we think about the languages that are inside of North America that aren't native to North America, we have English, obviously, we have Greenland, we have Danish, or Greenlandic, we have Danish for Greenland, and then we have French and English for Canada, and then we have Spanish. And so, in my opinion, to make a well-rounded individual from a cultural sense, it would be important to understand those cultures and then to spend time in those other countries. I think a lot of the times we get mesmerized about going abroad to Europe, to Spain, to Italy to see all this stuff when there are lots of benefits to go and visit Mexico, visit parts of Central America, or to spend time in Canada, or to spend time in Greenland. Now, Greenland's difficult because it's very difficult to get there, but I think Greenland has a very rich history, and I've talked about this in the previous one, so I don't want to kind of bore you with the same stuff. And so Italian would probably be the other language that I would learn, and then the other one would be Greenlandic or Danish. But one of my main goals is to be spending more time with Canadian cousins up north, and I think I would recommend that everybody try to culturize themselves with the cultures that are around us, and that includes our native cultures. In Arizona, mainly Navajo would be the largest one, and then we have I think we have Apache in America, or in Arizona, and then we have Hopi, if I'm not mistaken. But I think it's beneficial, and I don't think we do a strong enough job, or there's a strong enough information, or it's not coming to us in an easy way where we can say cultural significance to the things that are not only in the area that we're in our country that we're in, and then culturally for our specific houses. But that's another, I don't know, that could be another conversation. But as far as books reading, I spent a lot of time reading Buddenbrooks. I'm almost done. My goal is to get this bad boy done this week. I only have about 100 pages left. It is a fantastic book, and we will do a, what are those called? A YouTube video about that review once it's done. The main crux of the thing that I wanted to talk about, I went to a 20-year reunion yesterday. Not my 20 years. It was for Danielle's good friend. I went to it yesterday. It was in Tolleson. First off, I think Tolleson is doing a fantastic job on their downtown area. They have a beautiful civic center. The street is beautiful. It has lights. The rest of Tolleson has some work to do, but what they're trying to do to revitalize Tolleson, to make it a safe, comfortable place to be. And I think that the city council and the mayors are doing a fantastic job. In fact, one of our friends is on the city council of that. His name's Jimmy Davis. So if you're in Tolleson, vote for Jimmy Davis if he comes up, if he's going to run for re-election again. And so my point is that we went to this reunion, and it was really interesting to me. Again, I'm not judging anybody. I think that everybody has a right to live the life that they want, but a few things were very interesting to me. It was people really don't take, not that these people, I'm not trying to be judgy on people's appearance or their weight, but it just seems that and this includes me too. Not that I was ever really skinny or anything along those lines, but everybody's I think there's something either in our food or our lives are just so stressful, but everybody has gained weight. But more importantly, I listened to some of the attitudes and the way that people would talk. And a lot of people's oh, I'm old now, early in their 30s. I'm old now. My knees hurt. It's my back. All this stuff. And it just dawned on me that we really don't take really good care of ourselves, one, and we're constantly putting that negative energy into the universe about how our health and about how we feel and about how we work and how we do things. And I think that that's just something that we need to really get better at. Your body is designed, from what I can gather, from what I've read from doctors and so forth, or health professionals, is that our bodies are designed to stay functional and movement even into our 60s and 70s and 80s, which means that we have to do a good job maintaining the body that we have, treating it, and I hate to say it this way, but treating it like a temple, so that we can go and do good work in the world. And it bothers me that we think that we're old when we're 30 or we're 40 or we have aches and we have pains. We shouldn't have aches and pains. If you have aches and pains and you're not doing something that should be causing those aches and pains, like working out or doing hardcore fitness or fighting or whatever the case is, you shouldn't be having regular daily pains about getting old. And then more importantly, you shouldn't keep putting that into the universe that is a factor of you getting old. That's not how getting old actually is supposed to work. That was the first thing that I did notice. The second thing that I noticed, and it wasn't about these people not being successful. I don't know a lot of them, even though we probably went to school together at some point in time, was more along, or high school or grade school, middle school, whatever. But the thing that I think was really interesting to me was when you look around, how do you cannot judge anybody's success by the way that they dress or what they're doing, was the first thing. And then the second thing that dawned on me was, how do we actually gauge success? I think for Warren Buffett, he made a comment once that success is supposed to be, to him, the reason why he focused on the money was he thought that was a measurement about, if he was the best at something because he had the most money or something along those lines. But I don't think that that's really how we should measure success. And I encourage everybody on here, and I'm thinking about this myself, and I don't have an answer, I'm just talking about this, is what is the best way for us to measure our success? Because a lot of the times we always focus it about wealth, and we don't look at the life that we have and say, am I successful? Is this what it means to be successful, and or where am I where I want to be? I had an interesting conversation with my wife the other day as we're trying to get better at our communication and keep working on things for us. And she had said that, she's okay just going to work and coming home and going. That's what she wants life to be. And I think that the people that sometimes have a different, like for me, again, I can't sit still. Like in human design, I'm a generator. So it's very difficult for me to sit still. I mean, already today I've recorded one podcast. I'm going to do John's podcast. I went and grabbed some cleaning stuff. I want to polish this table a little bit better. I want to finish reading Bud and Bro. I want to play some Assassin's Creed maybe. I want to play some Street Fighter maybe. I want to hang out with my dogs. I want to go work out still. And I don't even have enough time in the day to do all of that because I, stayed up late doing, going out and doing the reunion and everything. And so I got up later and so forth. But, it dawns on me that everybody's version of what they want their life to be is their version. And no one should be judged by what they're wanting their life to end up being. I think that where my judgment comes in on people is if they want something different for their life, they're complaining about it and they're not doing something for it. I've actually never, to my wife's, I guess would be a compliment in my opinion. So hopefully she would take that as it if she heard this. In my opinion, she never really complains about anything that's going on in her life. She kind of I wish that she complains about stuff that maybe goes on at work and stuff, but she never goes I wish we had more money. I wish we could travel more. I wish we could do this. And, I think that that's good because she has a measure of what success might be for her. And I think that she is that thing. So her life is maybe more content. And I don't think that there's anything wrong with that. I think what happens is we have people on social media, we have people in the spotlight that are always pushing their not their agenda, but their opinions about how life should be and how their life should be. And we take that and we look in, should our life be that way? And all of those things. Because to me, if you were to ask me how life should be, I feel that people should learn multiple language. People should learn music. People should go to college. People should, have a trust set up. People should manage their plans as a family. People should do all of these things. People should practice I think everybody should practice martial arts. I should practice more spend more time with martial arts. And so people should learn archery because the Buddha recommends that as a great skill, or in India, that is one of the virtuous skills of being a man, or to be all those stuff. But I don't go out and I tell that to all those people. I say that that's my opinion about those things. And if I was constantly putting that stuff out on social media, you might think that, oh, I don't do any of those things. Is my life where it should be? Am I a man? Am I this and am I that? And to my opinion, I don't think that. I think that we have to all decide that for ourselves. And so I encourage people to not spend their time and their energy and their life thinking about what other people say on social media. And I would just recommend saying, fuck social media, just utilize it to build good relationships with friends. I utilize it to stay close with all these cool people that I've met in the academy, cool people that, and I can meet them in Mighty Networks as well, but if they've left Mighty Networks, there's some people that I have really good relationships that I've met throughout the time in the academy that I talk to on a regular basis that I would love to do businesses with and things like that. I talk to friends that I'm trying to connect with. I utilize it as a tool to better the relationships that I have and staying in touch and being with people. What ended up happening was, rather than looking, and what I think ended up happening was, rather than having social media and say, hey, look, this is a way for us to stay connected, what we did was we utilized that as the way to stay connected, not as a means to connect with people and then bring them into the real world to do more things with them. And I think that that's been one of the biggest downfalls of social media and where we are moving in life. And I encourage people to not utilize social media in that capacity. But again, like I said, do what you want because you're the one that has to decide how meaningful your life is. But I would encourage you, if you find yourself saying that I wish that my life was this, or I wish that my life was that, then I would say that maybe it's time to make a change, or to try to make a change and to listen to what other people are saying. But if you don't have that, then fuck what other people are saying. Your life is exactly how you want it to be. It's exactly where you want it to be. And that is really, really strong. And I encourage you to do that. I also think that people don't know people. I think that we think that if people are in a regular grind of what's going on in their life, if people are going on and doing that in their life, I think that that's okay. And I think that you need to be okay with that being okay if that's what you want, because no one else can decide that. I remember I always had a problem with the things that people chose to do for their careers. Not that any career is wrong. It's that I felt that people should always aspire to be more in their field, especially when they have a lot of good talent or they're strong at something. And two things have come to my mind with this. is that I had a professor that was a literature professor in community college at Scottsdale Community College, go Artichokes. And I had a professor that was there, and he was a very talented football player in high school, and he got a college scholarship to play football, and he could have gone, I believe, if I understood the story correct, he could have went and probably furthered his career and gone into the NFL. But he really wanted to be a literature professor. And in my mind, I felt so bad for all of those people that wanted to go into the NFL. They tried their asses off, got into college, wanted to go, and didn't go, that I felt that he had an obligation and a responsibility to go into the NFL because he was gifted in something that and the hard work that he put in. But he was kind of talented in the way that he put it. But he didn't want that. He wanted to have a career in literature and be a professor, and that's what he did and went with his life. And that was wrong of me to think that, because it's his life. He is the one that gets to decide and choose how he wants to live that and how he wants to give that into the community. And then the same thing goes with my wife. I think that she could have done something. I used to think that, when she was at certain roles in the bank that she works for, I was like, you should aspire to be more or something along those lines. But that's what she enjoyed doing, what she wanted to do. And it was no one's responsibility or not my place to judge what she did for those things. And just like for wherever you're at in your life, or whatever year it is, however far out of high school you are, college you are, whatever, where you're at, you are the one that gets to measure whether or not you're successful. Don't spend time having that measurement be a KPI or an indicator that you measure across everywhere, right? Because if you went to business school, you're always taught to look at the other KPIs. Now, I look and see what I always do is I try to look and see what people manage to, maybe what some averages are, but then I set my own goals and I just focus on those things. So like if you think that it's money, then set a KPI for your goal and where you want to go, but don't work to just say, oh, well, I'm losing because these people are better at me. No, just say, this is the measurement that I'm going to do, and these are the goals that I'm going to have on this measurement, and then I'm going to go there. Maybe success to you is spending more time with your children, and you say that you realize that you're not spending time with your children, and then you're like, hey, I want to spend more time with my children. I'm going to make sure that I spend 20, 30 hours with them a week, or whatever the case is. I don't know how people spend time with their children, and because I don't have any. And so you just go and you focus on that, or you focus on stronger family values and family ties. We have the ability to measure whatever it is that we want in our life, to measure our success. And I encourage you to do that and stop looking at the world around you for that success measurement, because it's your life. Whether you go to heaven or you get reincarnated or you're just in the ground, make the time that you have here the best time possible for you and make your life what you want it to be. And with that, I'm going to end this Lo-Fi episode. As I always do, remember, be faithful, grateful, and kind, and we will talk with you next time. Bye. Thank you so much for listening to this Age of Jeremy Lo-Fi. I hope you got some insight out of it. If you did, or even if you didn't, make sure that you like or don't like this episode wherever you get your podcast. Subscribe to this podcast if you enjoy it, so you can get notified when we put out new episodes. They will also be on the Age of Jeremy YouTube channel, and I believe also on our Age of Radioverse YouTube channel. Our opening song was Brave Faces Everyone by Spanish Love Songs. Our closing song was Threatening Each Other Recapitalism by Illuminati Hotties. I recorded this solely on an H1N. I did some mixing on it and some post work on it on Cubase along with Waves plugins. And as I always say, be faithful, grateful, and kind, and we'll talk with you next time. Bye.